Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina. I am a commercial photographer based in Miami, Florida, and I'm excited to give you this one today. And this has been the long-awaited edit video. So I'm gonna literally walk you guys through my thought process, the choices that I make, why I make those choices, and the experimentation that also goes on during this process as well. If you guys seen my last video, I pretty much walked through our whole shoot process, and this is of course the post-production process, and I haven't really touched these images yet, okay? So I did go ahead and select a couple. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys like some of my favorites from the shoot. These are literally not touched at all. And again, I've already made it. I already told you guys, look, we had to adjust. We really had to adjust for the shoot because between the yellow lighting that was there, the furniture, the brown walls, it was a lot. It was a lot going on, and I definitely believe we made the best of what we got. But I definitely believe like, okay, we could have did better, especially if we actually had done what I originally set out to do. It was just so much going on. But we're here. We are here, and we experimented. We did a lot of different things. Okay. So I did go ahead and select my top 10. I'm going to show you guys those. And I did make some adjustments. So here is the before and then the after. Before and after. I feel like I want to take this down just a bit more to preserve that color of the jacket, because it's such a, yeah, so about right there. So before, after. Yeah. So I said I didn't make any, but I did make some adjustments already. So, you know, opened up the exposure a little bit, added some contrast, took down the highlights, took down the whites just a tad bit. I really didn't do too much. Oh, and I also added like a little gradient map mask, because this was a bit too dark for me, and I just felt like that darkness was kind of like, I feel like it was distracting. I think I'm gonna turn down some of, because I don't want to like take out the color of the bag. Yeah, so about right there. Same thing here. Before and after. Oh, I didn't really adjust it. So let me adjust this with you guys. So my thought process is usually, okay, how is certain things showing up? And you'll notice like, oh, this is a TIFF file. So this is one of those files that I kind of already brought in. I'm actually gonna go ahead and delete this. So ignore that. Because I was just experimenting, because I was experimenting, one, because first and foremost, when it comes to this couch, I feel like it's very distracting. This peachy pink tone is just, I feel like it's just taken away from the shot. I don't like it, and it's taken away from the shot. So I was like, okay, let me go into Photoshop with this one, and this is probably the one we're gonna go into. I just want to make sure you guys see the choices that I've made, the before and after. Now looking at the before, I feel like I overexposed this a bit. So I'm gonna turn down the exposure, bringing back like that color in her skin, bringing back that color in the jacket. There we go. Cause I'm like, she's light skinned, but she ain't that light skinned. Yeah, this one is pretty good. I usually like to match images together as well. This is another one. So sometimes I do like the fact that I'm like, oh, if there's lines in a shot, try to match up the lines. Yeah, match up those lines. I'm probably gonna end up taking away that blue line altogether. And Photoshop, here's another one. Let's go ahead and fix this. Yeah. And the only reason why I'm not really worried about cutting off her hair, because it's really more so about the bag. I just feel like, you know, she kind of adds to the shot. This is probably one of my favorite shots. I think the only thing that I'm just like, with, when you zoom in, the micro core is pretty blurred out, but I know if I probably had a more like, the f-stop was just like maybe 11, it probably would have been more focused. And then I actually probably want to take this down just a tad bit, highlights just a tad bit, because I still want to preserve that warmth in her skin. And then this one, this is a before and after as well. So before, after, before, after. I desaturated that floor, but I feel like I want to bring it back just a tad. Not too much, because those colors were like really distracting. So probably about right there, because I'm working on a mask, so this is masked out. And then maybe make that a bit warmer to like just match the ambiance a little bit. Nothing crazy. So that's the mask off. This is the mask on, off, on. Caption One does a pretty great job with selection, so I'm never really worried about it. One thing I am gonna do, I'm probably gonna go down just a bit, because again, I want to maintain those colors, bring back some of that, open up that shadow a bit more, because I personally like seeing curls. If it's like too dark like that, I'm just like, no. But I do want to maintain, she has like a dark brown. If you was to see it in person, she has a dark brown hair, so bring too dark is not like a thing for me. But yeah, so this is the before and after. I might take this exposure down more. Yeah, there we go. And then maybe put up the brightness just a tad. Yeah, that's around where I would want it to be. I don't want to completely take away that warmth in her skin. So those are the images. So going over to Photoshop with this one. So this one is already in Photoshop. I kind of already made some changes already, but I'm going to walk you guys through the rest. I'm going to walk you guys through the rest. And again, this is me going through my thought process on like how I just feel like it's a real life enactment of like, okay, what it actually takes, or what I actually go through, the back and forth that I be doing. I want to, you know, put you guys in my head, trying to speak out loud. So this is very much so, I want to say off the cuff, but not really off the cuff, because I technically already know what I really want to do with all of these photos. I want to make sure I dead all of the distractions. I want to make sure certain things, such as like this blue line, it just goes away, you know. This couch, I'm probably going to play with the different colors of the couch, take this little thing away, this poster away. also probably take this away. So because my style is more so clean than anything else, I really try to focus on the subject. And in this case, the subject is the bag, the subject is the person. You know, Dolly, she did a very good job. This was pretty much our first time working together, so of course there's a learning curve with working with anybody new, but I think we did a fairly good job with working with the environment that we had, with the different elements that we had. So I'm like, you know, we're gonna get this going. We're gonna, you know. So, okay, we're here in Photoshop. So as you see, I already took the liberty to change the color of that couch. I feel like that feels better to me. So this was the original color, and that feels better. It feels much better. I may even make this darker. Let me see how it looks darker. So this is the experimenting, guys. Like, you know, probably increase the saturation but darken it. So you notice like I'm playing. I don't get, yeah, no. Nothing too crazy. See? Yeah. And then I changed the blend mode to color. I originally had it at soft light, but I was just like, it wasn't working for me. So I'm like, all right, let's change it to color. And this is at 100% opacity. I'm most likely not going to change it. And then I took away those lines there because I was like, clean, clean, clean. Now that we are pretty much there, and I'm not even going into the face as of right now. I personally like to try to stick around, you know, getting everything cleaned up first before I do anything else. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly like my plan. So let me get the paintbrush here. Let's change this to like a red. A red. So here are my areas that I'm going to be cleaning up so you guys can see, okay? So I'm most likely going to get rid of this. Oh, let me change the flow to 100% and let's make the hardest a little better. So this, getting rid of, okay? I know, don't judge me, but I'm getting rid of. You already saw I got rid of all of this, that, all of those little things that I personally felt was distracting. And then I am getting rid of this here. And I'm also getting rid of this here. Now, when it comes to the face, I'm zooming in here. So, of course, we got a couple of blemishes. So we have there line. I'm gonna probably even out all of this here. Okay. Probably, I'm gonna see how I feel about getting rid of this whole piece of hair. But as of right now, it's for me, it's okay sometimes. And then probably use Dodge and Burn to clean up certain things. And I think that's pretty much it. Zooming into the eyes, I'm probably gonna end up cleaning up this a little bit as well. Probably here. Let's see. So this is pretty much how I map out exactly like, okay, things that I'm probably gonna end up taking away, cleaning up. See, not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just how long it's actually going to take me to do it, okay? Because some days I'm like, I'd be lazy, then other days I'm like, all right, let's get this going. Photoshop pretty much have a lot of good tools that I utilize on a regular basis. So for me, I automatically probably like, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and make a stamp visible layer. I already have that as a preset. And then I'm going to go to my remove tool. See, boom, that works for me. So just a little before, boom, wait, all my layers off, boom, boom. See, looking better already. We're looking better already. So now this makes me excited. Now it makes me a lot more excited. All right. So now I am going to come in. I'm probably going to go ahead and just do some dodging and burning now before I do frequency separation. I already have a preset for that. And this is my help layer. The black and white layer is my help layer. So I'm probably going to do a little dodging under the eyes. Select my brush tool. Let's make sure my flow, I usually have a flow of 1%. Take that hardness down to soft. And then I'm using my brackets to increase my brush. Oh, I also gotta make sure that this transfer is set pinpoint pressure. Perfect. And so there's certain things that I automatically do when it comes to this stuff. Boom, boom. Trying to get rid of any thing. So that help layer that I did earlier, I'm gonna move it to the top so you guys can see, you know, what I'm working on, right? And then take it back off. And then also I'm making sure that my brush is set to white, because if it's set to black, you ain't doing nothing. You are not doing nothing on the layer. I decided I'm gonna keep the curl, by the way, because I'm a fan of curls, obviously. So I kind of like to stick to, you know, making sure the curls are maintained and whatnot. I may take a little of the straggly hairs away, but ultimately I am going to just do that. Of course, I am going to go ahead and fast forward through the dodge and burn process because it can get pretty boring and lengthy. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below as I fast forward through this. Now that we're past that stage, I did some light dodging and burning. I'm gonna go ahead and do my frequency separation. I usually do. I gonna go crazy. Yeah, I'll probably do a little more. Yeah, I ain't gonna go too crazy with that. Boom, boom, boom. So frequency separation, for the people that don't know, it pretty much separates the color from the texture layer. The more blurry it is, then that means the more texture that would be on the texture layer. The more that you see detail while you're doing the process in the Gaussian blur, the less blurry it is, then the more details that will show up in the color layer. So sometimes, depending on how much I want to do, like how quickly I want to get it done, I kind of like just be like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna put a lot of texture or a lot of the detailing in on the color layer. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Like, this is a trial and error situation, and I encourage you guys to always, like, okay, trial and error. And then I use the patch tool to come through and take away some of these. So these are more, yeah, those are texture. So usually I kind of like using, for the texture, I actually like using the clone stamp tool instead of the patch tool, depending on how the texture is on the skin. Because as one of my mentors would say, it can make the skin look blotchy. So I just do this. If something don't look right, it's probably because it's in the color. And then I just even out the color on the color layer. Again, you'll notice, like, I'm one of those people that sometimes you gotta undo if it don't look right. But this is probably one of those situations where I gotta work with it on the color layer. So you notice I'm just getting rid of all of the blemishes. You know, looking at this now, I really feel like I should have shot this at like a higher f-stop. Probably would have got more detail. Definitely would have got more detail in her skin texture. Just, you know, see things and just get rid of them. At this point, I'm just really getting rid of distractions. Deep. If I feel like it's a distraction, it gotta go. Something like that. Let's do that over. Zoom into that bad boy. See that better. I just feel like this looks like a bump, but it's just probably just the light, how the light hit her lip. All right. So let's do some evening through the texture layer. So I put another layer in between, you'll notice right here. And then I'm going to use my brush tool. I'm just going to press B for brush. I tend to have my brush between like 3 and 5. I'm going to say 5 right now. Say 5. And then you'll notice that I'm always sampling. I got it on normal right now. I usually keep it on normal, and unless it's like something super specific that I need to get. Again, I'm not a person that is too crazy when it comes to this. I'm not very heavy-handed unless like something like this. So right here, I'm probably going to try to even this transition more, but still keeping that shadow. So keeping it true to the shadow. And then every now and again, I just cut it on enough to see where we at. I don't try to overdo it, and I try to check myself every so often, because I know that, okay, Justina, you can get heavy-handed at times. And sometimes it's not even about me being heavy-handed. It's probably sometimes my flow. I probably just need to lessen the flow of what's on the brush. Same thing over here. Let's come down with that, because I just, you'll notice like if I need to add something back, I tend to, but a lot of time I try to keep certain things very consistent. And then I also don't try to change the shape of the face, because that could be a thing. And then I do a little check. Here we are, boom. Yep. Right, now this texture here, it's a little distracting for Justina, so we're going to, nope, let's make sure this is on current layer, because when for some reason I don't even know the science behind that, but I usually keep mine at like a little 13 to maybe 20, and this is like my way of softening out any like texture differences in this particular case. And I'm very light-handed with this. It's just to get rid of, like, you know, some of the blotchiness that I currently see. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, sometimes I do get a little lazy with this step, and I get caught every time I'm a little lazy. But, and when I say I get caught, I have peers that I end up, like, sending my work to. And, you know, just the extra feedback. You're never too, you know, good for consistent feedback and, you know, growing. We all trying to grow here, right? So, like, people that has been in the game longer than me, I tend to, you know, be like, hey, how do you like this? You know? And I just do that. Yep, that looks better for me. And it, again, I'm not really too heavy with it, because it's not really much texture here. It's just, you know, this little muddiness going on that I didn't really care for. And then I'm gonna soften out these lines here. She's a pretty young girl, so bam. And then I'm gonna do another layer. So this layer is usually like me enhancing the makeup a little bit. So I'm gonna get my brush tool. I'm probably gonna put this tool at like a 15 flow, 15, 20. I'm gonna do 15. And then what I do is I usually take like a color, probably like her eye color, but that looks a little dull for me. Probably like her eyelash. Let's just do black. Let's see how it looks. And now I do this either in Dodge and Burn, or I would do it here. And I just go in and enhance certain things that I see. Nothing too crazy. Like if I feel like, all right, this should be a little thicker, I just do that. But I'm never like too crazy with it. And then sometimes I just go around the eyeballs just a tad. So put some definition in them. Nothing crazy, making certain things like darker. And then other areas like a little, I probably do this with a little. And I know you're like, what is that gonna do? For you, it may not do nothing. For me, it gives that little extra oomph that I would like in the eyes. that dimension kind of does something for me. So I kind of like just add more dimension to that. I am no artiste, so a lot of this would be like, okay, if I like it, I keep it. Sometimes you'll catch me erasing, a little bit. Again, nothing crazy. We not trying to be crazy. I don't know why I did that. But we're not trying to be crazy. And then you'll see like before, after. Zoom out just a little bit. And then the before and after on the face. All right. Now I check the bag, which honestly, there's not really any, well, I'll probably try to dim this a little bit just to make the micro pore pop a little bit more. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna see if it's a stamp visible layer. And then I'm just gonna see if Photoshop will let me just select this part. Yes. And what I'm gonna do here is gonna copy and I'm gonna paste it on its own layer. And then I'm gonna use, not that. Well, I'm gonna use curves to see if it'll let me dim that down some. This is so far over. Why? I don't know. Let's click something else like a brush or whatever, and then let's make sure it's clipped to that. And again, I usually go to extreme sometimes, but I just want to see how certain things will look. Probably put like a little curve in that. And boom. Let's zoom out. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Nothing crazy. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then let me just take that away because there's nothing in there. And I usually do that a lot. I put something in, probably get from it, and then I take it right back out. Now let's go ahead and do this again. And now my favorite part. This is like, I'm gonna clean her skin up just a little bit. This is like, don't use this too much. Just use it enough. So this is called portraiture. And it's just selecting her skin. Like it's selecting any colors that's within that range. I'm gonna press OK, let it do its thing. And it's gonna soften her skin probably way too much and everything about her. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mask. And then I'm gonna paint that back, certain things back in. You notice I didn't touch her collarbone or anything like that because I just, it's one of those things where I felt like I didn't need to. It's 15%. I'm avoiding her nose. Boop, boop. I know, for me, You guys like, I don't see nothing. Let's see. Before and after. I can do a little more right here. Nothing crazy. I know. There you go. I don't know if you see that. Probably zoom in right here. Boop, 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 boop. I'm gonna do a little more. I try not to be too heavy with this, but her skin is already smooth. And then this is that image, right? I know you're like, wowzers. So let's do a before and after, before, after, before, after. All right, I'm pretty excited. So let me do the other the other 9 pictures at this point, and then I'm gonna come back on and yeah. Well, let me do the other 9 pictures and I will show you. And thank you. You know, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Again, my name is Justina Smith, and then I will be bringing you more content like this. If you like stuff like this, please leave a comment below. If you're like, oh, I want to see more behind the scenes, again, say that as well. And yeah, keep creating, guys. Bye.